Well, hey everybody, I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I want to share a short thought that I had about the so-called tolerance paradox. Now, you might have heard of this, you probably already know it. It's that a tolerant society cannot tolerate intolerance, or you lose the tolerance, and so therefore there's a paradox, an apparent contradiction, which is that you can't tolerate the intolerance. So apparently you have to have intolerance, right? So it's, are you tolerant or are you intolerant? And that is what the paradox is. Now, you might also know that paradoxes don't actually mean necessarily that there is a contradiction, just that there's an apparent contradiction. So paradoxes have resolutions. For example, you have Zeno's paradox about the motion being impossible. Zeno's paradox where, after half the time the arrow's here, right? But then after half the time it's here, and after half the time it's here, and after that it's here. An infinite number of half times, and so the arrow never actually gets anywhere, and hence motion is impossible. Now, hopefully you can see with that one that that is not true. It's only an apparent paradox. Basically, the answer, I would assume, is calculus, limits, functional limits, and the types of infinities that exist within finite numbers, right? So let's get back to the tolerance paradox. Honestly, this really isn't even a long video. So all we have to do, I think, is add one more term back into the situation. So the apparent contradiction comes from the fact that it appears that we are tolerant of everything when we say we are a tolerant society. But there's not an apparent contradiction because how society feels about tolerance or intolerance directly correlates to whether the behavior is tolerant or intolerant. In other words, the complete set of ideas of the tolerant society does include intolerance for intolerance. It is basically a mirror of the reality. If a situation is tolerant, we are tolerant of it. And if the situation is intolerant, we are intolerant of it. So the tolerant society, of course, also presumes being intolerant of intolerance. So the apparent contradiction is really just that we use this shorter version of it, the tolerant society. We focus on that, and that is basically a metaphor. It's kind of like the metaphor saying, oh, I'm going to get in my wheels, using a part of the whole. I think it's called synecdoche, but I'm not an English person for sure. So anyway, that's basically it. Not a paradox because it's simply a mistake of the language we're using. It sounds like we're saying that a tolerant society is tolerant of everything, but that's just not what it is. It's tolerant of tolerance, intolerant of intolerance. So anyway, I hope in some way this video was valuable for you. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have a lovely day.